Hello and welcome to the 2024 Aprilia Racing presentation, the penultimate one of 2024. Of course, we've had plenty to look at so far, and now it's the time to see what the bikes will look like for Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Viñales for the upcoming season. My name is Elliot York, not Jack Appleyard, unfortunately here for you guys today. He's over in Qatar doing some proper work. We've sent him away for a couple of days over to the Losail International Circuit, doing some filming with the riders out there. But he'll be back for the final one of the year, which will be Prima Pramac Racing on the 28th of February. So look out for that one. So what have we got coming up today? We are going to go live very shortly to the Losail International Circuit and speak to Jack Gorst, who's down there for us. We're going to then obviously, of course, watch the Aprilia Racing presentation. That will last around 15 minutes or so, we've been told, and then we're going to be going live again to Qatar to hear from the riders, team personnel from Aprilia Racing, hear again from Jack Gorst, preview the sort of test that's coming up, of course, the Qatar test coming up on Monday and Tuesday, have a look at where Aprilia stand in all of that. And then hopefully we're going to be speaking to Simon Crafar as well, who's just landed down in Doha. And then we're going to get my good friend and colleague from MotoGP.com, Chris Jordan, to review the livery and talk Aprilia as well. Remember, get involved in the chat. Get your questions across to us here. We'll answer as many as possible, interact with you guys. Let us know where you're from, how old you are, how much you're looking forward to the 2024 MotoGP season, like all of us. So get involved in the chat. We'd love to hear from you, maybe some topics of debate to discuss throughout the show as well. And of course, head over to the MotoGP store, links in the comments. Remember, as always, some nice Aprilia merchandise up for grabs there in the MotoGP store. So do look out for that. Head across to the website. So I think now we can head over to the Losail International Circuit and chat to Jack Gorst, who is down there for us. He'll be covering the test as he did over in Sepang. There he is in the lovely Losail Qatar paddock. Jack, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. How are things down there? What's the atmosphere like? And hope you're enjoying the new paddock as well, because it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Elliot. Yeah, as you say, the new paddock is incredible. You can see behind me just the scale and beauty of the paddock. Of course, the remodelling finished early last year, and there wasn't exactly any concrete figures as to how much it cost, but I can tell you it cost a flipping lot. It was certainly quite a lot of money anyway. The paddock, as you say, completely redone, added in new pit buildings. There's 50 garages here now, so certainly when Moto2 and Moto3 come for the Grand Prix as well, they'll be very happy, because it's one of the few places where most of the Moto2 and Moto3 teams will also get a garage too. And along with that, there was a bit of a resurfacing too. Of course, we're building up to the Aprilia launch. You may have just heard some cheers behind me. A bunch of the photographers and journalists, and also anyone that's just around anyway, have gathered down there where the Aprilia bike is being unveiled, and I'm sure they're getting already a bit of a sneak preview at what the 2024 RSGP will be looking like. Will it be any different? That's the big question. Will it look any slightly different with the livery? Well, we know the Aprilia has followed this kind of black, red and purple vibe for the last few seasons, so possibly it's going to be just another variation of that. It's obviously going to be a big year for them too, with Maverick Viñales and Aleix Espargaro. Lots and lots of talk about contracts coming up at the end of the year. Aprilia last year, you could say that maybe they didn't quite meet those targets that they wanted to, and already we've heard in 2024 that they say they're not quite ready to fight with Ducati this year. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where Aprilia do fight in the pecking order in 2024 to be able to see what they're going to be able to do. I think they'll be up there. Elliot, what do you think? Because I'm curious to know as well, from your point of view, what you've thought and seen over the Sepang test that we've already had.
Yeah, I was going to get your thoughts on that, Jack. I think they're definitely going to be up there, but the contrasting comments, let's say, from both Aleix and Maverick. Aleix was much happier than both Maverick and Miguel Oliveira, who's of course riding the factory bike. I think they will be up there. They've got some work to do, let's say. Obviously Ducati have made a decent step. What are your thoughts, Jack? You're obviously down on the ground in Sepang. What do they need to work on most in the upcoming days in the Qatar test to really try and make that step forward?
Well, it's tricky. I mean, if you look at the Sepang test, obviously you say about those conflicting signals. We had one rider in Aleix Espargaro saying, yep, feel pretty good with the bike, slowly understanding it and getting better and better, and it's definitely a step up from the 2023 machine. Then on the other side of it, you had Maverick Viñales saying he lacked feeling with the bike, didn't know where the limit was, couldn't push for a time attack. But then on the other side of it, you look at Maverick's lap times and his sprint simulation he did. He really wasn't that far off what Aleix managed anyway, so it's pretty tricky to know what's going on with Aprilia. There's also on the satellite side of it with the Trackhouse MotoGP team with Miguel Oliveira saying similar sort of things to Maverick, lacking a bit of feeling, struggling with the time attack and particularly rear grip as well. One factor that will play a massive part in Aprilia's test here the next 2 days in Qatar at the Lusail International Circuit is, as you might be able to tell from my hair whipping about all over the place, it's a little bit windy here. It's not too bad at the minute, but today it has been relatively strong. I don't think it's the strongest that I've ever seen here at the Lusail International Circuit, but that could play a big part tomorrow and going into Tuesday as well for the Aprilia team, because it's just going to make it more difficult for them to know really how that bike is behaving accurately out there on track.
We've had a comment, Jack. Volt beats zero. Let's see what Viñales and Aleix can do this season, because their contract last on this year is ending this year, and after that maybe Quartararo might be in Aprilia. It's an interesting topic to discuss.
Cool.
Silly season has already started, of course, in MotoGP. Starts earlier and earlier than ever. It's hard to keep up with, isn't it? But we know potentially this is Aleix's last year. He did hint at that towards the start of last season. Maverick's got a big year, and lots of people like Fabio Quartararo have contracts ending with their current teams at the end of this season. So Aprilia are going to be on the potentially lookout. Thoughts on Quartararo going to Aprilia? I mean, personally, that's a fascinating move if it does happen. Pure speculation, of course, but what are your thoughts on that, mate?
It would be a massive move if it does happen. Of course, we know that Fabio has been asking for more and more and different changes from Yamaha in the past season, and it does seem as though he's finally got those changes, or at least part of the change that he wants to see. So whether he becomes, unhappy enough throughout the rest, well, as we go into 2024, I do say, whether he becomes unhappy enough to then look at a switch to Aprilia, that would be massive. I mean, if you're Aprilia as well, I think you'd be pretty happy with being able to pick up the likes of Fabio Quartararo, but also within their own project. Say if Aleix does retire at the end of 2024 and perhaps they're not entirely happy with what Maverick Viñales achieves this year, there's also the likes of Miguel Oliveira that will surely be wanting to get onto a factory bike in a factory team. Of course, this year he is on that factory bike as well, so we already know that Aprilia are putting their faith in him too. So whether there's a completely changed lineup at Aprilia in 25, I mean, we'll wait and see. But 24 hasn't even started yet, and already we're getting our teeth stuck into what's going to happen in 12 months' time.
We certainly are. Cheers, Jack, for your comments. We'll speak to you soon. Go sort your hair out, mate, 'cause it is a little bit windy over there, so go get spruced up and we'll chat to you in a bit, mate. Cheers for your comments.
That's the nicest way to say that I'm not looking good I've ever heard. Cheers.
Looking splendid as always. So, as always, we've got fan questions coming in, and next up you're going to see who sent them in and who's been chosen to ask Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Viñales in the presentation. So have a look here.
Hi guys, I'm Adila from Malaysia. I have 2 questions for Aleix and Maverick. So for the first one is, what keeps you guys motivated during a race weekend while being away from your families? I know that the second part of the season is always going to be the toughest one for you guys, since you guys are away from your families for a very long time. And Aleix may have been doing it for quite some time now, but Maverick is fairly quite new to this fatherhood. So yeah, that is my first question. My second question is sort of like a dare or a bet, if you will. So for Catalan GP last year, you guys have made a history with Aprilia by winning the first and second place. So my question is, if you guys are able to recreate that moment again, or at least be on the same podium together again, would you guys consider on getting a matching tattoo? And if you do, what kind of tattoo would you guys get for each other? So yeah, that is all from me, and thank you so much MotoGP for this opportunity, and all the best to Maverick and Aleix for 2024 season. Bye!
Hello Aleix, hello Maverick. I'm Nishant and I'm from India. And I really wanted to ask both of you guys that how do you guys keep yourself so much motivated even after so many ups and downs throughout your MotoGP career? Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Drajat. I am from Purwokerto, Indonesia. I have a question for Maverick Viñales. When will you wear Batman costume again? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sending your questions in. Matching tattoos for Maverick and Aleix. I'd like to see what they say about that. That would be very interesting to see what they would choose if that was going to happen. So without further ado, it's pretty much time to head back across to the Losail International Circuit and head to watch the official unveiling of the 2024 factory Aprilia RSGPs that Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Viñales will be riding in 2024. As we've said, it's a huge year for both of them. They sort of came into 2023 after Aleix Espargaro went so close, didn't he? In the 2022 MotoGP World Championship, going so close, came within touching distance of the title. And then 2023 didn't have that same effect, unfortunately. So they're going to be managing expectations, Aprilia, in 2024. But a big year ahead. As always, you can head over to MotoGP Authentics. This is a really cool one. Get your name on the checkered flag, the Qatar Grand Prix. Head over there to get all the latest and official memorabilia from MotoGP. So links always in the chat. A reminder about that. Do head over there. There's some fantastic stuff on there to get your hands on too. So I think it's time to head over to the Losail International Circuit. But before we do, we're going to have some chat comments coming in. As always, get your comments in. Any questions, any thoughts about the Aprilia Racing season ahead on Maverick and Aleix. Love to hear from you guys and hear what you got to say. What we're thinking, big livery change or minimal change? Great question. I do enjoy the Aprilia Racing livery. Is it going to change much? They don't normally change it too much, and I wouldn't be upset if it didn't, because personally, it's one of the best on the grid. The black really works well with the green and purple. But as you can see from the countdown, we are ready to go and see what the bikes will look like for Maverick Viñales and Aleix Espargaro. So I will shut up very, very shortly and enjoy the presentation that's coming up. See you soon.
Go on modulation, all four, and keying with a go.
You got my attention, baby.
No bikes were harmed in the making of this video. Maybe some mechanics. Ride responsibly.
Welcome to the Aprilia Racing presentation for the season 2024. As you've seen in our opening video, we love to have fun, but now it's time to get really serious. So welcome here our Aprilia Racing CEO, Massimo Rivola. So Massimo, it's a great feeling to be here, and we have seen the bikes with this livery. What can you tell us about it? It's beautiful.
A beautiful livery with some romantic touch. A beautiful livery for a bike that, again, I love to say that innovation is the key word. And again, Aprilia is bringing new concept, and I like to see this kind of innovation every year.
Okay, but you can tell us also a little bit about the mood, about this beautiful team, about the riders. So what can you tell us?
Well, motivation is at the top, absolutely. If we were not so motivated, we wouldn't be here, and we should change our job. So for sure, we are ready to start. We can really wait for it.
Okay, thank you very much, Massimo. And now welcome our technical director, Romano Albesiano. Romano, we have seen now the bike with the ultimate livery, but can you just give an overview? What's the difference between this year bike and the 2023 bike?
Well, there's a lot of difference. We can have a look at the bike.
Yes.
And you see immediately the different front wing concept. The aero concept is the most evident part of the development, especially the rear. There's a lot of thinking about this rear, and it's a totally new concept. But also the frame, the chassis is new, the swing arm is new, many transmission and engine components, electronics, so there's a lot of new parts on this bike.
I know that Aprilia always brought in MotoGP a new concept, like the fork wings, like the ground effect fairing, like the tail wing. So what do you think is the feature, the special feature of this bike?
Well, there's aerodynamic study really advanced. We are all constantly looking for more aero load, but not only aero load on straight, also the very complex aerodynamics flow around when the bike is cornering. So it's a very complicated aero concept, and we are really proud of these new things that we are testing in this winter test. And it's something really exciting that we are bringing every year.
Thank you very much, Romano. Come here with me. And now we can welcome Aprilia Racing Team Manager Paolo Bonora. Paolo. So, Paolo, I'm asking you, how is the approach of the team after this intense work in the winter break?
Yeah, to be honest, the winter break has been too short. It was a very demanding period for us, but we are very proud of the job we did, about the team, because we have made the 6 2024 bikes, but as soon as possible we will manage to give to also Raul the 2024. So we are happy about this.
Yeah, because this is another big news for Aprilia, having also Trackhouse, which is more a partner, more than a satellite team. So I'm asking you, how was the work, in order to give support and the bike?
Yeah, you are right. It is not only a partner, it will be a big opportunity for both. So the quarter of Trackhouse and the factory are based on in Noale, in our factory. So we will see big opportunity for both teams because we can analyze more data all together, and the big goal was initially, and it is at the moment, to do better than last year.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thanks so
Paolo.
much.
And now we are ready to call the guys who actually are going to bring these beauties on track. I'm talking about our test rider, Lorenzo Savadori. So the first question I'm going to ask you, how was your winter break, Lorenzo?
Yeah, it was good. I'm training a lot with my RSV4 on track and to arrive ready for racing and for start the season in a good way.
You were the first one actually to bring the RSGP 24 on track in Malaysia. What was your feeling?
Well, was good. I want to say thank you to Aprilia because this 24 bike, RSGP 24, is a step forward compared to the old one. And I want to say thank you to Massimo, to Romano, to all the mechanics, engineers, and also to race department because we do a good step forward.
Okay, you're going to do some wildcards also this year, so we can wait to see yours on track, joining the pack, you know, the other MotoGP rider.
Yeah, I can't wait to start the racing. At the moment, we planned for Jerez, Mugello, and Assen, and can't wait to start to make some race.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
Lorenzo. You. And now it's time to call number 12, Maverick Viñales. So Maverick, since I know you quite well, I'm asking you, how bad were you missing riding the bike?
Well, I have to say that I was enjoying a lot of home. So I was not missing in a lot, but of course to ride these bikes, you only can ride here in MotoGP. You know, we are working a lot with Aprilia trying to transform this bike on an amazing bike, and for sure every time we go out on the track we are improving and improving, so that's a great news. However, I train a lot this winter. I eat like nothing, so I hope to bring an amazing results to this team.
I'm just asking you, how does it look? How do you like the bike as it looks?
Well, it looks, of course, very sharp. It's something I like, but it's better when you try. So it goes. It's in a good shape, the bike.
Okay, we know that you finished last season in a very great shape. I think it's time to work to get that feeling back again. What do you think?
Of course, it still is early. The Sepang test, we've been very calm, trying to really figure out what was going well or not. You know, always the test. It's complicated, but still we remain calm. We know we have 2 more days. I think with the guys we are working on the simple things, which will make us go very forward, and that's our target. I know if I'm able to be in the front since the first corner, I'm able to do a great performance. So my target, of course, is that.
Thank you very much, Maverick.
Thank you.
And now it's time to call rider number 41, Aleix Espargaro. Aleix, this is the 8th season with Aprilia. You've seen the team changing a lot. So how do you feel about the team in general and the story with Aprilia?
Yeah, I'm very exciting, you know, to start my 8th season as Aprilia factory rider. You know, the project has grown a lot. You cannot imagine from how far we came from, and I'm very proud, you know, to still be here. I think I have the strongest human team behind me since I arrived 8 years ago, so we're ready to fight.
We all remember the wins in Barcelona and Silverstone, and maybe it's going to be even tougher and harder fight. What do you think about it?
100%. Every season is a new challenge. It's harder and harder because more young riders with higher talent are joining the class. Our rivals, the other factories, are getting closer. So, you know, the competition is going to be very high. But this is why we are here, you know, to race against the best of the world. Aprilia today, we can say that we are in the best moment of our history. So let's prove that, and let's try to win more races.
Okay, and what about the RSGP 24? How do you like it? You rode it in Malaysia?
I think it's beautiful. As you can see, super racing livery, and the first test was quite good, really positive. Obviously, the dynamics changed quite a lot the way you ride the bike, and we still need to do some more testing before the first race. But yeah, looks promising.
Okay, thank you very much, Aleix. Thank you, guys. You've been wonderful. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. So a lot of merit goes to you as well. So we actually ended our presentation so far, but remember, it's not over yet. So stay with us and now enjoy the last video, the still life video with Aprilia Racing.
It's the new flex. Time to go hard and put your game face on. Let it burn 'em, burn 'em, burn 'em. Got the fire in the bones. Our desires, they become who we are. We go hard, giving love, no we're not. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you got, you gotta let them know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go.
So there we go, the new Aprilia RSGP for 2024. A little bit more purple, less colours overall maybe, a bit more black. I personally really like that. It's simple, it's clean. Most importantly, will it be fast? Let us know in the comments how you think about that new livery for Aprilia. As I say, I'm a big fan. I liked it before and I think I like it now. Here's the poll down below. Do you like the new Aprilia Racing livery? A for yes, B for no. Get comments in, get your votes in, and we'll see if the majority either like it or don't like it. I think most people will. So, get your comments in. Let's see what the poll says afterwards. A little bit of a promo time. MotoGP hospitality, unrivaled views it says there, and they are absolutely spot on. I'm lucky enough to do a few interviews in the VIP village areas and the views are fantastic. The access is pretty unrivaled. So get over to MotoGP.com, go onto the events page. The hospitality is always links in the comments. Head over there and get yourself to a MotoGP Grand Prix this year because let me tell you, it is absolutely worth it. Let's have a look at some chat comments then that have been coming in throughout the team presentation. From Sam Bennett, Top Gun win is coming this season, going down in history. Yeah, of course. Maverick is part of a trio along with Alex Rins and Jack Miller who could create history this season by becoming the first rider in MotoGP to win with 3 manufacturers. He came close last year, didn't he? Did Maverick, Viñales, I think 3 P2s last year. It came close, especially in Indonesia, in Portimao as well. Julio Cesar, Es la moto perfecta. My Spanish isn't 100% great, but I can tell you that does say the bike is perfect, as you can probably make out at home. Didn't need me to tell you that. Stumpy Nation would love to see some really competitive results from them this year. Yeah, I think we all do. Aleix and Maverick wear their heart on their sleeves. Some people might not like that. Some people love it. I personally love it. It's great for content, great for interviews, and great to see riders actually showing a bit of personality. And we'd love to have Aleix and Maverick up there this season. More race wins for Aprilia, says DC322. Yep, let's hope we do. A couple of wins last year, of course, for Aleix Espargaro. None for Maverick Viñales. From Amy, not bad. They could have made the colours a bit more exciting for the fans, as that's what the fans like. But overall, I'm not disappointed. Yeah, I can understand what you mean. I mean, compared to, let's say, the VR46 livery, it's a little bit different, isn't it? Mainly black with a splash of purple, a bit of Aprilia red on there. I mean, I'm a fan, but I can see why you would think that, Amy. I think a few will agree with you as well. They're not going to be hard to spot because it's sort of it's a unique livery, let's say. A lot of the colours on show, factory Aprilia, for example, Grassini light blue, factory Ducati red, Grassini blue, Yamaha blue. It's going to be set apart from the rest, let's say. But I'm a fan of the livery overall. A nice splash of purple, but there isn't too many colours on there. So I can understand why people might not like it as much as some of the others. Let us know what liveries have impressed you so far. And from Mo F1, MotoGP is always on fire under the floodlights. Couldn't agree more, Mo. The Qatar circuit, the Lusail International Circuit, is a spectacular sight, but it really, really comes alive during the night time. It doesn't feel the same when we do sort of free practice or testing in the daytime. It really, really comes into its own under the floodlights. And with the new paddock as well, it's an absolutely spectacular venue to go and visit. So if you can get down to the Lusail International Circuit, do, especially with the new paddock, like I say, it is a sight to behold. Going there for the first time last year it takes your breath away. It generally does. So I think we can go now back down to the Lusail International Circuit, because I believe Jack Gorst has got Maverick Viñales with him, and as you can see, he absolutely does. So Jack, down to you, buddy.
Maverick, thank you for waiting for us. Obviously, impressions on the new livery, it looks quite nice. What do you think?
I already see on the winter. So no, I mean, of course, it's very similar. Trying to optimize also the weight with the colors, which is always good. What more I can say?
Obviously, 2024 is going to be a big year. We know how competitive Aprilia have been recently. Last year, perhaps, maybe didn't quite reach exactly the goals that you want. So what are the goals for 2024?
Well, basically, to go back on last year, we didn't achieve the goals we want because we started really bad. And so that's a simple thing we need to improve. Of course, it's one of the main focus for me, because at the end, it's not in my hands. So I need to push the team trying to improve a little bit more, especially to approach our competitors. And then the bike is working well. I mean, we did the test really calm, trying to understand really well what is going on the bike, what is not. And today, and of course the next days, we have one mission, that is to understand what is the package aero that benefits the most. So that's our target for also the test.
We saw in Sepang that perhaps there was some mixed signals. You were saying you were maybe struggling with the bike a little bit on time attack, where Aleix was very, very positive. Was there any particular reason for that?
No, I just think we rode two different ways, and we were concentrating in another stuff. But however, in Sepang, I was not on point with the bike, so it's something we need to work. But still, there is time. We need to be ready, especially on the race. So still, there is a lot of time, plenty of them. We are trying to stay calm, trying to analyze well, and don't miss anything on the way, because we can build a good bike.
Finally, Maverick, we just have two fan questions for you. The first comes from Drajat Local Pride. Maverick, when will you wear the Batman costume again?
I don't know. Whatever I win, I bring with me.
And the second one, Maverick, is from ERNN. How do you keep yourself motivated after so many ups and downs in your MotoGP career?
At the end, I believe in myself. I know the talent I have. I know how fast I can go. It's just to put everything together. Of course, in the last year, I've been not really lucky, despite some technical problems or I was not able to have a good package. But you need to keep believing. You never know when your moment gonna come. Of course, if you want that your moment comes, you need to take the lead, and it's what I'm doing.
Thank you, Maverick. Back to you, Elliot.
Cheers, Jack. Thank you very much. Always good to hear from Maverick Viñales. He's sounding a bit more positive than he did at the end of the Sepang test. Let's hope for Maverick's sake that he can have a good couple of days in the Qatar test. So we've got a quiz for you, as always. Which famous actor wished Maverick good luck before the 2023 Spanish GP in Jerez? Was it A, Antonio Banderas, or B, Tom Cruise? So get your answers in the chat. A for Antonio Banderas, B for Tom Cruise. Interesting to see what you guys think about that one. Going to get some more chat comments now. Get your comments in, keep firing them in. We're going to show as many as possible and react to as many as possible as well. Always good to hear from you guys at home. What are your thoughts on the new livery, about the season ahead for Maverick and Aleix? That first video was really fun. The livery looks pretty cool. Classic factory style. Yes, from Katie Gale. Yeah, agreed. Looks pretty cool. Classic factory style. Nice and clean and simple. This thing looks insane with 3 fire emojis from CTC Trip Zeds. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one for a lot of people. Some might not like it, but it does look super clean and quick. I do like the simplicity of the Aprilia Racing livery. So as you can see, we can go back down to Losail and hear from Aleix Espargaro. Jack, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, we're here with Aleix Espargaro, Capitano for the Aprilia Racing team. Your 8th year here, Aleix. Did you ever think you'd have 8 years in Aprilia when you first joined?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. Sincerely, I'm very proud really to be here, to be my 8th season in Aprilia. Our journey has been not easy. You know, we came from very, very far away, and today is it's a privilege to be Aprilia rider. So I'm very happy, and hopefully I will be at the level that it deserves.
Aleix, there was some talk a while back about potential retirement rumours with yourself, but you seem to be as fit and as motivated as ever, and we know that the Aprilia is as competitive as ever. So going forward, what is the plan in terms of the timeline of your MotoGP career?
Yeah, the plan is to go as fast as possible. You know, I will. The races will decide for me. If I'm still fast, I'm still the #1 riders I've been in my other 7th season in Aprilia. I will decide maybe to stay. So it's on my hands. It depends how fast I am. So yeah, hopefully we can start on a good way, trying to fight for the victories in the first part of the season.
And lastly, Aleix, we've heard some different comments from yourself and Maverick about the 2024 machine. You seem very, very happy, but Maverick, on the other hand, is maybe finding some more problems. Is there any particular reason for why you're adapting to this bike better than Maverick?
No, I mean, it's a difficult question for me. I like the bike from the first lap, from the first lap in the first test. It's true that it's quite different in terms of the dynamic. You ride the bike quite differently. The way you put the bike on the corners, it's different, especially the first part, the entry. But it goes in really on my riding style, because it allowed me to rush a lot in the entry of the corner, which I love it. So for me, it's fine.
Lastly, Aleix, we just have 2 fan questions for you. The first one comes from Adila Tamid. If you get another 1-2 like last year at the Catalan GP, would you get a matching tattoo with Maverick, and what would it be?
will be nice. It's a good question, but we could do. Yeah, we could do a nice tattoo with the date of the race, because we've been in 1-2 in Barcelona with the Suzuki in the qualifying, then 1-2 in the race with Aprilia. So it will be nice to repeat it again.
And lastly, Aleix, the second fan question comes from ERNN. How do you keep yourself motivated after so many ups and downs in your MotoGP career?
It's not easy, you know. It's very important to have good people around you. I've been very lucky to have my wife with me during all of the journey, during the grey and dark days, because it was very difficult to maintain the motivation and to be happy. And I've been very happy that I had really a dream life when I arrived home, and it compensated the bad days at my job. But the last 2 years has been a dream for me. I'm enjoying a lot at home. I'm enjoying a lot of racing. So yeah, life is beautiful.
Thank you, Aleix. Good luck this season. Back to you, El.
Cheers, Jack, mate. Good work as always. Life is beautiful, says Aleix Espargaro. He'll be hoping it is in 2024. Right, we can go to the quiz results from Maverick's question. 60% of you going for Tom Cruise, and that, of course, is the correct answer. 40% going for Antonio Banderas, which is understandable, a famous Spanish actor, of course, but Tom Cruise, Top Gun, Maverick, it all links well, doesn't it? So Tom Cruise did, in fact, wish Maverick good luck before Jerez. So, what's coming up next? MotoGP Hospitality again, unrivaled views. Get over to the MotoGP Hospitality website, links in the chat as always. And as I said before, do get down if you can to a MotoGP event this year. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but make sure you do it sooner rather than later, because all the circuits provide VIP hospitality packages, and every time it's a very, very good weekend indeed. So, time to focus back on Aleix. Here's the quiz then. If Aleix could only eat one type of food for the rest of his life, which would it be? A, pizza, or B, sushi? Interested to see what you guys would say to that as well. So put pizza or A in the chat if you think it's pizza, or B or sushi in the chat if you think it's sushi. I think I know what the answer to that would be, judging from several Instagram stories Aleix likes to put across. over the season, but I'm not quite sure for the rest of his life what he would pick. So get your comments in the chat, and as you can see, we can go back down to Losail because Massimo Rivola is waiting for us, the Aprilia Racing CEO. Jack, down to you, mate.
Massimo, we've just seen the new bike, obviously a beautiful looking bike, also looks quite different. It seems that you've been very, very busy over the winter break. Just tell us about how difficult the winter was.
Yeah, I was busy because of all the innovation we brought on the bike, and also because the new good news of Trackhouse, so provided more, let's say, 24 bikes also for them. So, yeah, too short winter time.
Obviously, it's a big year this year with contracts coming up at the end of the season. What's the expectation for both Aleix and Maverick this year?
I think we have not 2 but 4 very strong riders. I think this is a good year to show everybody, not just to me, the potential we have. I expect a lot from Maverick. He finished the season with the pole position, so the speed is there. I hope to start from that point. Obviously, when you have a new bike, you need to rebuild a bit your feeling, but I think Maverick now is ready to win. So, and I think Aleix is a big pusher. So it's going to be hopefully a strong battle.
What's the feeling like within Aprilia at the minute? Because after the Sepang test, there was maybe some conflicting comments between the riders. Aleix was very happy with the bike, and perhaps Maverick was less happy. From their viewpoint and the comments that they've given, how do you feel that they're situated coming into this test?
Yeah, you're right. The good thing is that Aleix proved that the new package is faster than the previous one. At the end, when you change a lot from a bike that you already have your feelings, maybe you need more mileage to get used to that. On Maverick side, I think also we did a few mistakes from our side and we didn't put him in the right position to test the new parts properly. So I'm quite positive for the next 2 days of testing here in Qatar.
And obviously after this test we do go racing here in Qatar. Always been a difficult first round for every team. It always seems like there's maybe a small hiccup for everyone. What would be a strong result for both Aprilia riders coming out of the first round of the year?
Unfortunately, our competitors are not sleeping, so let's say that a gap from the winner within 5 seconds will be a good result. Hopefully we are all there, and for sure this is a track that we like, so it's good to start here. I think the track is also matched the characteristic of our bike, so for sure we start with let's say aiming for a podium, but I know we are ambitious, but we have to look for that.
Massimo, thank you. Good luck this year.
Thank you very much. Always good to hear from Massimo Rivola, of course, Aprilia Racing CEO. Speaks so well, doesn't he? Interesting, though, they're just keeping calm and cool, aren't they, about the upcoming season. So here is the quiz results. Sushi is the correct answer. That's what I thought it would be. I mean, eating pizza for the rest of your life would be nice for a bit, wouldn't it? But I'm not sure about the rest of your life. Sushi, there's a little bit more to go out in terms of health and a bit of a diversity. So sushi, 61% of you getting the correct answer, but I can understand why you would want to go pizza. So that is completely understandable. I think you would probably choose that to start with and then maybe get a little bit bored. So yeah, Aleix, if he had to choose one, would be sushi. Some more chat comments from great name, best team in the paddock, hoping for great results, building on previous years. Yeah, they've got some good results in the past couple of years, haven't they? 2022, as we said, was a magnificent season, a sort of coming of age season, especially for Aleix. Espargaro got his first win over in Argentina. Shame we're not going there this year. Of course, Aleix would have been hoping that he would have been able to put aside last year's disappointment from the Termas Rio Hondo circuit and hopefully win there again. Joe Frill, Ahmad Ramadan, Top Gun 12 is confident he can beat the top racers in 2024. He certainly is. Maverick, confident in himself, as all the MotoGP riders are and have to be. If you're not confident in yourself on the MotoGP grid, then there's no point in being there. But yes, Maverick certainly confident he can do the business, and I think a lot of us are hoping that that will be the case in 2024. Like I said, he's one of 3 riders who can make history by becoming the first winner to win on 3 different manufacturers, and if he doesn't do it, maybe Alex Rins can do it, and maybe Jack Miller can do it as well. So Maverick will be hoping it is him. Came close last year, didn't he? 3 podiums last year on a Sunday for Maverick. But as you can see again, we can go back down to Qatar because Jack has Romano Albasiano with him. Jack, down to you, mate.
Romano, first question, I'd like to get stuck into what we saw at the Sepang test. We had some conflicting feedback, shall we say, from both riders. In terms of the development of the bike, has it suited one rider better than the other, or is it purely just taking a little bit more time for Maverick to get used to the new machine?
Well, to be honest, Maverick had some, let's say, troubles with some setting of engine, the torque delivery, which confused us a little bit. So it was a kind of disturb in his working program. At the end, only in the third day, he could ride properly without any, let's say, disturbance. And he did a very good sprint race simulation. So I'm very optimistic about the possibility for him to adapt to the full concept of the new bike.
In light of that, how busy has the last 10 days been since the Sepang test? Have you been back at the factory coming up with possible solutions for Maverick to try here?
No, not really. We didn't need to prepare something special. We just needed to check the data, make a plan for this test, and use the parts that were already available in Sepang. No hurry for doing something new to repair any mistake.
And we've seen in testing that Ducati have obviously taken another step forward. It seems that everyone has taken a step forward, and Aprilia have openly admitted that perhaps right now we're not quite ready to fight with Ducati. How far do you think you are away from Ducati, and do you think that in the next 2 days you can close that gap?
Should consider that the race we did in Sepang last year was a very difficult race for us. We was probably maybe the worst race in the season. So the results we had in the test very close to the leader, and with a very good result on the sprint race simulation, it's been super good. So considering this on a more favorable circuit, make us to be very optimistic. So I think it's so early to say, but I think we should be ready for winning some races also this year.
Let's see. Let's hope it happens. Thank you, Romano.
You're welcome.
Okay, perfect. Good to hear from Romano. Aprilia should be ready to win some races this year. That's good news for the fans of Aleix and Maverick, and Aprilia fans, of course, as well. We'd love to see Aprilia back up there fighting for the sharp end week in, week out. They were just a little bit too inconsistent last year, weren't they? So we have a poll for you. Who will finish higher in the 2024 MotoGP World Championship? A, Aleix Espargaro, or B, Maverick Viñales? They were split by 2 points last year. Aleix finished 6th, Maverick 7th. Only a couple of points between them, so it was super close in 2023. Who do we think will finish higher in the championship this year, Aleix Espargaro or Maverick Viñales? Then, without further ado, we can head over back to the sale and chat to the Aprilia Racing team manager, Paolo Bonora. So, Jack, back down to you, buddy.
Is not enough busy.
Yeah, Paolo was just saying that the winter busy is not enough. So, from your side, tell us how busy it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Busy is not enough to say what the team has done during this too short winter break, because we changed our plan regarding the 2024 bike. It was in plan to supply to Trackhouse initially the 2023, but at the end we defined all together to supply the 2024 also to the Trackhouse team. We are fully involved in this to give them as soon as possible, and Miguel will be the first one to have the 2024 bike since the first test, sorry. And as soon as we can, probably in the second part of this season, Also Raul will have the 2024. So I was speaking about the busy time because we supplied 10 bikes during the Sepang test to test in the factory team and in the Trackhouse team all the parts to be able to give to them the best package to start the season.
Romano Bessiano was just saying that the Sepang test, even though there was maybe conflicting comments from some of the riders, actually very, very positive, as Sepang is usually a track where Aprilia maybe suffer at more than most. From your side within the garage, how did you feel that test went? Because from looking the outside, there was maybe some question marks over the performance still.
Yeah, absolutely. There are still some question marks that we want to fix during this Qatar test. For sure, the comments was related to the riding style. So the 2024 was, since the start, a good step forward for Aleix. But for for Miguel and for Maverick, there is still something to adjust in terms of vehicle setup and in the electronic setup, in particular for the engine braking. But we are confident that we are in the good way to fix that weakness point and to give to them a good bike for this test and for the first race.
Paolo, thank you, and good luck over the next 2 days.
Thanks.
Yeah, cheers, Jack. Always great to hear from Paolo Bonora, such a nice man to talk to, speaks very well. He's never that confident with his English in interviews, but he comes across great and his English is very good indeed. So here are the poll results then. Who will finish higher between Maverick and Aleix this year? And 65% of you going for El Capitano, Aleix Espargaro over Maverick Viñales. Understandable. Last couple of seasons, of course, since they've been teammates full-time. Aleix has beaten Maverick Viñales. So 65% of you going for Aleix Espargaro, thinking he will continue to be Aprilia's #1 rider in 2024. Not quite sure I think that's going to be the case. My personal opinion, of course. I think Maverick, well, if he doesn't, then he should turn it on this year. This is sort of Maverick's time to really show what he's capable of in Aprilia and in the MotoGP World Championship. So interesting to hear your thoughts there. It's going to be close between them, I think. Aleix, he's used to being the underdog, isn't he? And Maverick Viñales is sort of the fresh blood in Aprilia. So it's going to be close between them. Interesting to hear that 65% you think it will be Aleix. So Emanuele coming in with, I think Aprilia has hid most of the good things, Maybe Ducati need to pay attention. Yeah, we saw in Sepang, didn't we? Initially in the shakedown with Lorenzo Savadori, the test rider, and then, of course, with Aleix and Maverick and Miguel Oliveira, of course, in the Trackhouse Racing team, who is riding a latest spec RSGP 2024. Lots and lots of things tested, especially with the aero. That's mainly the differences between the 23 bike and the 24 bike. Mo F1 coming in again. I think Tom Cruise could fancy a win on a MotoGP bike if he can fly that Aprilia to the win. I would absolutely love to see Tom Cruise on a MotoGP bike, that is for sure. If we can get another Top Gun, the third one, get a Maverick Viñales Aprilia Racing RSGP into that film, I mean, let's make it happen, because I'd love to see some stunts of Tom Cruise maybe going down a runway on an RSGP. That would be some sight. I'm not sure he could win a race on the RSGP, but to get Tom Cruise maybe on a track day, they used to do those journalists at the end, the journalist runs or the star runs, didn't they, at the end of the season? But I think probably a little bit too dangerous with the bikes these days to allow those sorts of people to go on the bikes. But yes, seeing Tom Cruise on a MotoGP bike would be pretty special indeed. So, as you can see, we can head back down to Losail with Jack. Jack, who have you got there with us, mate? I recognise him. Plenty of people will recognise him too. How's things down there?
Yeah, certainly plenty of people will recognise Antonio Boselli, head of motorsport communications for Piaggio Group, obviously now kitted out in the Aprilia racing attire, a bit of a change from last season. And we actually have the 2024 RSGP alongside us as well in all its beautiful glory. Antonio, lots and lots of changes on this new bike. We've seen plenty of aero pieces here. We can see the rear wing down here. I wouldn't even know what you call this piece, a sort of rear
Fins.
wheel
You can
cover
call them fins. Yeah,
there we
or
go,
side
fins.
fins.
You can see how beautifully crafted, with much thicker on the leading edge and thinning back to the trailing edge. But obviously you're inside the Aprilia operation, so just talk us through some of the improvements.
Yeah, I think, hi everybody. I think probably the nicest part of the bike, we hope it's going to be effective also on performance, but it's the tail. If you see here, there's a kind of like resemblance to what is done in Formula One. The concept is the same. How it works is different because you know that the diffuser on the cars are very close to the ground, so it does the ground effect. In this case, it's not a ground effect because the tail is too high, referring to the track, but it does give some downforce. So what actually does, it creates like an airflow to push a little bit the tail of the bike onto the ground, so especially in cornering you have a high downforce. So it's a concept that might be interesting, and then apart from that, the tail wing is another thing that I'd like to just mention, because the tail wing, also the fork wings or the ground, the effect fairing, were some features that Aprilia brought in MotoGP.
We've seen in the last couple of years that Aprilia have almost taken the mantle away from Ducati as the aero innovators, shall we say. It's been an incredible rise since 2020 once they first switched to the 90-degree V4, and just how much performance they've managed to amass year on year. We know that perhaps last year there was some issues with, well, for one, there was a huge amount of heat that occasionally at the hotter racetracks was cooking the riders. We can see here that there are small fins to guide air, I guess, to the rider. Is that something that's been worked on this year as well to help keep the rider a bit cooler?
Yes, the problem is that once the heat is generated inside of the bike, it's very difficult on a aerodynamic point of view take it away from the bike. So it's very hard for that. So what did he say? What Pecco said?
I don't know. I don't speak Italian. So.
Cos'è did? Ah, okay. He said I switched side. So basically what happens is that we had a test in Malaysia. I don't know if you remember the three Aprilia rider with the RSGP 24. They were riding together, and the heat is still an issue. I think that with the second aerodynamic package, there will be some idea just to get the hair, the heat away from the rider.
Just as we're looking around the bike here, if we come actually just round to the front of the machine, you'll see kind of, again, some of the updates and just small tweaks that Aprilia have made this year. Of course, we see the main front wing now, that it has this connecting piece that swings back onto the main fairing. That last year wasn't there. They just kind of came out and stopped here. They look a little bit larger, I presume, larger surface area. And then as well, if you just come down to here, you'll see those fork wings that Antonio referred to earlier. They actually just attach in on a small bracket around the fork leg up the top there, just two little screws, and they hang off on the front. They're updated as well, all sorts of small little tweaks, including adding on the side pods. We can't wait to see it on track tomorrow. Of course, we've already seen it in Sepang. Here at the race in Qatar last year, Maverick was pretty good. He was actually the top non-Ducati finisher in both races. For the test, what's kind of the overall plan for the next 2 days?
This is a bike which is actually as a new feature. So the main important thing, the important thing now is just to get the feeling back as it was in the last year, especially for Maverick. If you consider the test in Malaysia was a little bit tricky because it didn't rain. The temperature was not so high in the morning, so the time were really good. So we dropped 1 second. We were the one, Aprilia was the one who dropped actually the most. But we need to see in a different track. We need to see with a different layout. But now it's time to get, extract the potential out of the bike.
Well, let's see what that potential is. Thank you very much to Antonio for showing us around and joining us, and also to Aprilia in general for their courtesy in allowing us to be up close and personal with the 2024 bike. Elliot, back to you.
Yeah, cheers, Jack. Great to get a close look at the Aprilia RSGP. Before you go, mate, how much are you looking forward to getting stuck into the test in the upcoming couple of days? You're going to be a busy man on the ground as always.
Yeah, I'll be badgering about in pit lane there. You can guarantee that. Of course, going to be great to be here in Qatar. It's my first time in Qatar, so I'm looking forward to seeing the bikes at night in person. That'll be something that's going to be interesting. But as you say, what I'll be looking for in pit lane, Aprilia are one of the key stories, really, of the established factories that we know are fairly competitive at the minute. I think they're the one that has the most question marks at the moment. On the other side of it, of course, we know the stories with Honda and Yamaha, but I'll be keeping an eye on Aprilia pretty closely.
Cheers, mate. Looking forward to that. Chat to you on after the flag tomorrow. Cheers for your hard work today, mate. Get some rest. And, yeah, catch you tomorrow, buddy, for the test. Couple of days coming up, an interesting couple of days. So, cheers, mate. Chat to you tomorrow.
Cheers, mate. I'll see you back in Barcelona.
He certainly will. Yeah, great to have a close-up look at the RSGP. So many new things, especially with the aero on the new bike coming up in 2024. We saw it, as I said, at the Sepang test in much more detail. And if you want to get trackside and get a closer look at the bikes, which I really, really hope you do and push you to do, because watching it on TV is one thing. Going to the track and watching MotoGP is a whole new different kettle of fish. It is fantastic. So always in the chat, MotoGP.tickets.com. Click the link in the chat and get booking your weekend away in 2024. Right, we can, as I shuffle across, welcome my good pal and MotoGP.com colleague, Chris Jordan, who some of you will probably recognise from the VR46 launch. Chris was over in Italy doing that. Chris, how are you, mate? Good to see you.
Very good, and a pleasure to be alongside you. What a sterling job you've been doing so far. But I said I'd step in and try to give you a little bit of help to close out the show.
Absolutely, mate. Help is always welcome. So, obviously, Aprilia, interesting season coming up for the Nuwali factory. First things first, though, the livery. Changed a little bit. I personally really like it. Some people will like more colours, which is understandable, but what are your thoughts on it?
I'm quite a big fan. It's looking quite regal with that dash of purple spread across the RSGP. It's a nice little touch, as you can see. A little bit less red than what we had on it last year, but I'm generally a fan of a black undertone bike with touches of purple and colour and red on it. It does look pretty spectacular. It's been keeping in theme a little bit with the 2024 presentations, where we've seen a lot of different liveries compared to last year. We've had Honda changed theirs pretty much completely with that new blue. We see VR46 have gone completely different with the fluo stream yellow and white. And while it's not quite as extreme as the VR46 boys, Aprilia have followed suit.
Yeah, they certainly have. I'm a massive fan. I know people are going to like a little bit more colour than that on some of the bikes, but I think we've got a good mix this year. Of course, we've still got Prima Pramac to come. Maybe a change there. I do like their livery, but apparently they could be changing it a little bit. Most teams have changed it a little bit, and Aprilia, of course, are doing the same thing. Yeah, I'm a fan. I think it will look good under the lights in Qatar as well. I sometimes do prefer bikes to look a little bit more clean and simple rather than having like a load of logos on there and different colours, but I like a good mix.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see it in action under the Licea lights. Yeah. It's a pity we don't actually have more night races during the championship, because they always look much better with that visor, the eyes sticking out beneath the visors as well. It's always a treat to see. So it's going to be great to be back at Qatar for the opening round. Of course, we have a couple of days testing first for riders to acclimatise to it, but it's exciting times ahead, particularly for Aprilia this season. I think from the testing that we've seen so far, they've come out pretty strong. I know Maverick Viñales didn't quite have that lap time in Sepang, but Aleix was bringing the fight to the Ducatis on the timesheets in both one lap pace and, of course, in the sprint simulations. He was mixing it with the best of the Desmos Adichis. So we've touched on it earlier, or you have touched on it, I should say, that both riders are entering their final year of the contract. Aleix says it's in his hands whether he will retire or not, but he still seems like he's feeling good. He's in the prime of his career, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him up towards the top end of the timesheets once again once the season gets underway proper. Yeah,
turns 35 does Aleix in July, I think it is. Coming to the end of his career, we know that Valentino Rossi, of course, carried on for a few years after that. But pretty sure if Aleix is on the podium, winning races, challenging for pole positions and podiums, he'll probably want to carry on.
Yeah, 2 wins last season, a smattering of podiums as well across the last 2 seasons. So he's going very, very well. I would expect him to add a couple more to that as well in the coming season.
Yeah. What are your thoughts then? We had a poll, of course, 65% I think it was. I think Aleix is going to beat Maverick again this year. We always have this debate in the office. I think a lot of us love Maverick, but at the same time get a bit frustrated with him because he can be so hot and cold.
Yeah, he's very much a roller coaster of a rider, but when he is fast, there are few who can beat him. I'm not going to nail my colours to the mast just yet because I can't call it. Of all the team rivalries, shall we say, I think this might be the closest one where you're looking at the 2 Aprilia boys should be neck and neck throughout the championship. Aleix, of course, does have more experience on that RSGP. He's, 8 years now on it?
8th season,
and you're looking at the last 3 years, he's starting to win much more. He's starting to get on the podium. Maverick is entering his 3rd season on it. I think he picked up a couple of podiums last year as well, one behind Aleix in Catalonia. So it's going to be a difficult one to call.
Got a chat comment coming in from Jordan. I just want to see Aprilia compete more in the sprint sessions, in the sprints. Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I think mainly it's qualifying that they've got to sort out. They look good sort of in practice on a Friday, but Maverick said this is a big thing as well, the starts off the line. They were losing so much time in 2023 off the starts, and in a sprint, if you lose time off the start, you've got half the time to try and make it up. So agree with Jordan there. It would be good to see Aprilia doing a little bit better in the sprints.
Yeah, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. I think the starts were killing them basically in the sprint races, particularly when you look at the likes of the Red Bull KTMs who were rockets off the line. The Ducatis then caught up with the KTMs, so it was very difficult to keep up with that. Whereas if the Aprilias were on second row, they just kind of got mired in mid-pack, shall we say, a little bit. So hopefully they will have rectified those issues for the season ahead, and we will see them more competitive in the sprints.
Umair, please ask the purpose of the swing arm fins. Yeah, that's a great question. Not the most tech-minded guy myself. Neither is Chris, I don't think. Would you say you're a tech-minded
Don't
person?
sell me too short, but this is most certainly a question, I think, for one of our tech gurus of Simon Crafar and Jack Gorse. We'll put the question to them once we can, and without a doubt they'll be back to you pretty quickly with a detailed explanation.
Yeah, I wish I could give you a better answer, Umair. Apologies for that. It is super interesting, though, how much innovation has come in MotoGP. We saw it on the KTM with the little Funk fairing wings, saw it on Aprilia as well. And Aprilia, like Jack Gore said in the last segment he did, Aprilia really are sort of leading the innovation in terms of aerodynamics, working closely with Formula One, and we did see that in Sepang, didn't we, Chris, with their aero rake. We've seen it in Formula One, they've been using it for years, but for the first time we saw it in MotoGP. We can have a look at it here. There it is, a state-of-the-art piece of equipment. Doesn't look too pretty on the eye, I must admit. Luckily that won't be the thing that they're racing with, it's just to collect data, but an interesting thing to get the airflow and see if what they've done in the wind tunnel is coming to the fore on the circuit.
Yeah, Romano Albesiano as well was good enough to talk to Simon during the Sepang test and give a detailed explanation just how that aero rake works by monitoring the data of the wind flow across the rider and across the bike. So it's good. As Jack said, they've become the great innovators now in MotoGP of the aeros. But while remaining on the aero topic and segueing maybe towards Maverick Viñales, the new aero setups just don't seem to fit him quite so much at the Sepang test. It's one of the issues he's kind of mentioned that he's struggling with. He hasn't found that feeling with the bike yet. And he did mention grip was one area, but he also said the aero is the main difference of the bike, which changes the weight distribution of it a little bit. So that's one of the areas that Top Gun is currently struggling in. He said then on day 3, when he was talking to Jack post testing, that he needed just one more day to get things right. Well, he's got 2 more now coming up in Qatar, so it'll be interesting to see if he can find that feeling.
Yeah, he definitely cut a frustrated figure in. Sepang did Maverick Viñales. Not what we wanted to hear, but Aleix, a lot more upbeat. Maybe that's sort of Aleix's experience coming into play. Aleix describing it as the best pre-season he's had with Aprilia. Maverick, as we say in his interviews, I'm sure most of you would have seen them on MotoGP.com or across social media. Maverick not too pleased, didn't manage to really get a time attack in, didn't feel comfortable. So like you say, Chris, an interesting couple of days coming up for Aprilia Maverick Viñales in Qatar. We've got another comment from Aditya. Sorry if I'm mucking up these pronunciations. I probably am, so I do apologise for that. Maverick looks better emotionally wise after joining Aprilia. Yeah, of course, the way his, what do we call it, relationship ended with Yamaha back in 2021, that he couldn't have ended much worse, really. He cut a frustrated figure back at Yamaha. Didn't end well, but he does look like a much happier, freer person in Aprilia. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it was a torrid time towards the end of his Yamaha career, but he seems to have found a family setting now, of course, off track as well. He has his own family, which has maybe helped him settle down. But on track and in the paddock, he's got a new family there at Aprilia who have really, really seemed to have calmed him down and settled him down.
Another comment, keep coming them in. This is great stuff. Good to hear from you guys back home. Watch along. I like to see MVK12, Maverick 12, on top of the grid, but honestly seems that him is in a mind loop where the bike has all the responsibility in the performance, and this is not true. Didn't quite catch the last bit of that sentence there, but yeah, you can sort of tell from Maverick's, I mean, even in that presentation, he wasn't sort of, he said he didn't miss riding the bike over the winter, and we do hear a lot from Maverick that he says, I need to make the bike adapt to me instead of him adapting to the bike. We do hear that a lot from him. Is it time for Maverick to start adapting to the bike? He obviously does adapt to the bike, but maybe doing that a little bit more?
Perhaps, yes. Given his comments over the Sepang test, which were far from ideal from his perspective, maybe he's still looking for that bike to perform for him. But I think it's a symbiotic relationship as well, where the bike and rider need to become one.
Yeah.
And that does take time. He's had 2 years on it. He's a 9-time race winner as well, so he does know a thing or two about being fast and successful in MotoGP. So entering his third year, it is a pivotal year for him, without a doubt. And he is chasing that, shall we say, constructor hat-trick against Jack Miller and Alex Rins. So maybe that's just a little added motivation for him. But in terms, we really need to see him adapt to the bike and the bike adapt to him. We would love to see them gel, because once they do gel, and we've seen it a couple of times already, Catalonia last year, I think it was in Indonesia as well, he picked up a podium, and he was very, very fast.
On his day, I'm sure a lot of you would agree, Maverick is pretty much unbeatable. We saw in the early stages of his MotoGP career, once he's on song, Maverick is a very, very difficult rider to beat. We've seen it in fits and starts in his Aprilia career. And as I said before, he blows very hot and cold, does Maverick. It's sort of his character, and that's what we enjoy about Maverick Viñales. But it just needs to get that consistency, because it's great to have Maverick fighting at the front on a weekly basis. And like you say, Chris, especially in Catalonia, Indonesia last year, he was very, very close to victory. Portimao, of course, as well, where he finished second to Pecco Bagnaia. I think once he's in a good frame of mind, has a good start to the weekend, then we really see Maverick Viñales really push on over a weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen him, we've touched on it already. One of the crucial things that Maverick does need to improve on this year are those race starts. All the Aprilias kind of struggled with it a little bit. We mentioned it in the sprint, but also on the full Grand Prix race as well. So he is a fast rider. He just needs to get those final elements into his package, and then without a doubt, I expect to see him competing up front with the Ducatis, with the factory KTMs, and certainly adding to his tally of 5 podiums with Aprilia.
Before I let you go, Chris, I'm not going to let you off the hook that lightly. Qatar GP, what do you reckon Aprilia are going to do? It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of days, but I'm not going to let you watch the next couple of days to get a bit more info. I'm going to put it to you now. Where do you think Maverick finishes in Qatar, and where do you think Aleix finishes in Qatar?
You love to put me on the spot, don't you?
We'll do the Sunday race to make it a little bit easier.
Okay, well, looking ahead to that, it is a Ducati stronghold over the last couple of years, saying that Maverick's last win did come at that 2021 Qatar Grand Prix, and that was on the Yamaha, so he's definitely able to show a bit of form there. I think he's picked up a podium there as well the season previous, or a couple of seasons previous, so I'd have to back Aleix to finish ahead of Maverick on the opening weekend. And let's say Aleix, I think, is capable, with all his experience, of getting into the top 5.
And Maverick?
Maverick, you're very much not letting me go.
I'm pushing this.
We'll put him in top 7.
Top 7, okay. Not a specific position, but we'll let you off. We've got a question for you, Chris, I think, from the chat. AP Songs. Who will be the first rider in history to win with 3 different bikes? Maverick, Jack Miller, or Alex Rins? A good question. We've mentioned this a couple of times now, and I think it's an interesting one. What do you think?
It is a very interesting one because it's a little piece of history each of these riders will be keen to secure. Maverick and Jack both have that extra year's experience on their respective machines, but we know what Alex Rins can be like. He won 3 races in 6 rounds last year, well, crossing over to the end of 2021, 2022 and 2023. He's a demon at Kota as well, so if he can get a good run, it could be Rins aboard the Yamaha. But to nail my colours to the mast on this one, I'll give you this one. I'm going to go for... Let's go for Rins.
Alex Rins, okay, interesting. I personally think it'll be Maverick Viñales. Controversial, I know. KTM probably looked the strongest out of the 3 manufacturers. I think with Rins' injury, maybe that was set him back a little bit. So I do think Maverick Viñales. But a good question, a good debate topic nonetheless. Chris, thanks for joining me, buddy.
A pleasure as always.
Great to hear from you, and I'll see you after this, and then we'll get ready for the Qatar test. So get a good night's sleep, mate, and more stuff tomorrow to do.
Exactly. A busy couple of days ahead, so we look forward to it.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you for joining me. Always good to chat away with Chris. I'll shuffle back along into the centre, try and move the mic out of the shots. There we go. Professional as always. Yeah, great to hear from you guys in the chat. Thanks for watching along. And yeah, interesting. Where will Aleix and Maverick finish at the Qatar GP? A really sort of interesting topic over the next couple of days will be the Qatar test, of course, that we've got coming up. That first video was really fun. The livery looks pretty cool. Classic factory style. Yes, from Katie again. I agree. It looks very, very nice. Very, very slick indeed. And hopefully they're going to run the factory livery that they've just unearthed in the Qatar test, because I'd love to see underlights in the Qatar test. Maybe they'll run the black livery for testing as they go through the next couple of days. So I think we're going to now, before we say goodbye, react to something that's coming up on your screens very, very shortly. Just going to wait for that. So here it is then, the 2024 racing livery, Aprilia Racing livery. This was the video that they put out earlier on today. Nice little cool graphics from Aprilia. RSGP 24 is the official bike name for Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Viñales. Of course, Lorenzo Savadori, who we heard from in the presentation as well, doing a fine job. Lorenzo Savadori have put in a lot of work, a lot of hours on that RSGP. And this was the nice little video they did. It's good to see the teams putting in some effort over the winter to provide us with some nice content. The Aprilia RSGP on a roller coaster. Let's hope it's not a roller coaster season for them again, because that's pretty much what it was last year, wasn't it? For both Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Viñales. Some days they were absolutely unbeatable, namely the Catalan GP where they finished 1-2. Silverstone, of course, Aleix Espargaro claiming victory there. But on other occasions, unfortunately, they were pretty much nowhere and struggled, especially compared to 2022. So they will be hoping it's not quite such a roller coaster ride in 2024. Maverick showing off his dance moves. I wonder if we'll see some of them pop up on podiums this year. And they pull the covers over the RSGP, and there's all the paparazzi. It's not Jack Gorst in the background. It is the RSGP that they're all trying to pat. No bikes were harmed in the making of this video. That is great to see. Maybe some mechanics. But yeah, great video from Aprilia. Of course, the penultimate team presentation that we're going to have in 2024. It's been a long stint. It's been a good stint. I've wildcarded for this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. Jack, as I said, will be back for the Prima Pramac launch, which, as you can see, will be on the 28th of February. A pretty special one, I believe, coming up for the Prima Pramac Racing one. Jack will be back with a couple of guests. They'll be reacting to all the liveries. Which one is your favourite? Get your comments in for that one. But hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. My wildcard appearance. Do tune in to After the Flag tomorrow, live from Losail. We'll be getting all the reactions from the Qatar test and a crucial couple of days coming up at the Losail International Circuit. But thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you around the corner very soon. Bye for now.